Hi, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. I'm going to do a political reading now on Michael Cohen. And this is kind of an exciting reading for me anyways, because it's my very first political reading on this brand new YouTube channel. So I've sort of taken a big jump off of, it feels like a high cliff, and hopefully I will find some viewers who like what I have to say and enjoy the insights that I feel that I can provide. The first thing I would like to say is, if you are one of those people who believe in your heart that Donald Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize, I'm probably not the right channel for you. So, having said that, I'm going to shuffle the cards. I am going to focus on Michael Cohen and the testimony that he is giving this Wednesday. What is that going to be like for him? What kind of information might come out? You know, this is the thing about the Michael Cohen situation. His original sin was sort of like he just didn't believe what Trump was showing him. Trump was showing him who he was, what Trump was about. And somehow Michael got it in his head that those rules didn't apply to him. He was special. He was family. So when Trump showed him what he was, he just chose not to see it. Now, that doesn't excuse a lot of his basic behavior, because intuitively, I definitely feel like he kind of got off on being that bully. He liked being that tough guy about town and Mr. Fix-It, and you know, I'm the guy who handles the stuff. He liked that. He enjoyed that. So, you know, I guess ultimately he found out that maybe he had misread Trump. Maybe he didn't quite appreciate the personality that he was dealing with. So you have a situation where you now have somebody who knows a lot of secrets, and he's about to testify. Now, as I'm sure everybody is aware, he's doing 3 days of testimony. 2 of them are behind closed doors, and 1 of them is public. That's going to be incredibly interesting. We know that he's not going to be talking about Russia, but other than that, it should be interesting. So I am going to cut the cards, and let's just concentrate for a second on Michael Cohen and his testimony this coming Wednesday. And let's just see what we find out. Okay. So, well, okay, so this appears to be accurate. He literally is out in the cold. He is out in the cold of Trump's world. Financially, he's not in great shape. He's, you know, probably looking at losing or relinquishing a significant amount of assets to go forward. He's definitely not going to be earning any income in the next couple of years while he sits in prison serving out his term. And I suppose he sort of feels the fool. So I'm going to finish laying out these cards and see what we can see. Okay. So, no question, this is kind of a tough time for Michael Cohen. He's facing, virtual ruin. Part of his behavior in the last few months has been trying to rehabilitate his image, I suppose. You know, trying to come clean the slate, start new. He's definitely in a very, very difficult place. He's, it has been hard for him. I mean, whether whether you like what he's done or don't like what he's done on a very basic human level, this is an individual who has been suffering. And suffering because of foolish decisions. Suffering because he didn't see what there was to see right in front of him. He chose to believe the illusion. So it's a hard place for him to be, for sure. As I said, he really enjoyed being that, man about town, the traveling, the international contact. He liked being, Donald Trump's go-to guy. Make no mistake, his ego was fully engaged. And so that was the past, that was the foundation upon which he then built his life for the last 10, 12, however many years he's been associated with Donald Trump. And literally, it was an unholy alliance. I mean, it is a relationship that is, unhealthy. Let's just start there. Codependent. Certainly behaviors that, wouldn't make most mothers proud. This is a man who would kind of get down in the dirt because dirt needed to be shoveled. And it was a very difficult alliance. It was very hard for Michael to snap those chains. That was not an easy thing for him to do. It was a process. Because on some level, he very much felt like Trump was a sort of a father figure to him. And when he came to realize that, just bottom line, Trump really didn't care. He wasn't special. He wasn't part of the family, and he wasn't going to be. That, put Michael in a position of kind of almost having to face the illusions that he has been living under for the last several years. Not an easy thing to do. We have the Six of Wands here. So this represents somebody sort of, going forward, trying to be victorious, maybe a little sneaky, a little sly. It's interesting because I'm looking at this card and I think very much that this in some ways represents Michael Cohen going forward. He sees his testimony as a bit of payback. It's revenge. It's not malicious in terms of I would lie for you, or I'm going to make up stories to make you look bad. But he feels like he has some really interesting kind of insights that he would like to share with people about Donald Trump and how Donald Trump has presented himself to the world, and he would like to sort of get some things off his chest. So this is him, and he feels like he's riding into a victory. He has the Magician. So, underhanded tricks, underhanded behavior. He, in some ways, he really was Trump's magician. He made stuff go away. He made things vanish. He just took care of things that Trump didn't want to deal with. And now he is ready to lay that out on the table, in part because he really does want to, there are some records that he wants to set straight. And he is also hoping to help himself, because you've got a situation where, he chose to not fully tell the Southern District of New York everything. He didn't become that cooperating witness. And to his mind, there were very, very good reasons for it. There were family reasons for it. There were reasons of longevity, reasons of trying to secure wealth. reasons having to do with secrets that he felt needed to be kept. So the best he can do for himself and for his family right now is what he's doing, which is riding into a place to let people know what he knows. And we have the Knight of Pentacles here. So this is telling us that he's struggling in terms of finances. And, you know, he doesn't quite know how he's going to keep everything going along for the next 3 years as he sits, as I said, in prison. So that's kind of tough. This card also is telling me that there is definitely going to be some very interesting insights that have to do with Trump and his finances and the kind of dealings that went on, and some also very interesting insights in terms of how Michael perhaps was using Trump and using his perceived access to Trump to enrich his own self. But he's now definitely in a situation where it's not feeling very comfortable financially. In fact, it's feeling really difficult. His outcome card is, you know, I don't mean to state the obvious, but it's kind of what the cards you would expect for somebody who's going to jail in 2 months. I mean, I don't mean to state the obvious. So we're going to pull 3 more cards and see if we can get any more insights onto this outcome. Okay, we've got the Lover's card, and we've got the Ace of Swords, and we've got Wheel of Fortune. So isn't this interesting that at the tail end of the reading, this is where the heavy, you know, major arcana cards come up and they have something to say. Partnerships are going to be broken by the truth, and destiny will play out its hand. The relationship to Trump was long, involved, it was multifaceted, there was a lot of ins and outs, and he knows the secrets. He knows them. And he's not going to be too shy about sharing them. I have a feeling that Mr. Trump is probably pretty cranky these days. He is furious. He does not like what is going on. He knows on some level some of the truths that are going to come out, and he's already working furiously trying to figure out how to spin them, and some stuff is almost unspinnable. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. So the bottom line, what goes around comes around. And this doesn't feel, to me, it doesn't feel like a just this lifetime situation. This feels like a little bit of past life influences. That is not my strength. It's not my forte. But definitely it feels like there were sort of promises maybe that needed to be kept, or associations that came together, and there was a history. There was that moment of recognition when people meet, and that was part of the relationship and the dynamic between Michael Cohen and Trump. Even though Trump very much treated him as a lapdog, he still saw that, Michael saw that relationship, maybe not perhaps as equals, but as very, very successful partners, as people working together kind of for a common goal or a common good. The truth is going to be shattering. It really is. I don't know how much we're going to find out, but I can tell you it looks like it's going to be a little gritty. A little gritty. And the Wheel of Fortune sort of says it all. These people have played the hands that they had, and now we are going to see some of the results of those choices come to fruition. So that's what I have to say about Michael Cohen. I know I for sure will be tuned in and watching on Wednesday, probably with a bowl of popcorn. I hope that you have enjoyed this reading. It was sort of my maiden voyage, so if it's not quite as professional and slick as others, I'm still learning the ropes. But I thank you very, very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, comment. I will be back with another political video very soon. Bye-bye.